Sagittarius, destiny is calling you. A new life begins and someone from the past returns. Have you ever felt as if destiny was calling your name? Not with loud noise. Not with an obvious event. But with a very quiet feeling, yet one you couldn't ignore. As if something was getting closer. A door opening. And on the other side was you, the version of yourself you've long forgotten. If you're hearing these words, then maybe it's not a coincidence. Perhaps this is a moment orchestrated by the universe for you to realize a completely new chapter is about to begin. And maybe someone from the past, a soul who once touched your heart, is on their way back. Not to start over, but to complete what was left unfinished. To answer a question your heart kept silent for years. Today, I will walk with you through that doorway, with words, with feeling, and with the light of astrology. We'll decode the sacred signs being sent to Sagittarius, the zodiac of those who never stop searching for the true meaning of life. You will understand why the uneasiness you've been feeling lately isn't fear, it's a sign that your soul is ready to expand. That something much greater is waiting for you, not at the end of the road, but in the very moment you dare to take the next step. And if your heart is whispering, "Yes, I feel something is changing," then let me know you're here by leaving a comment. I am ready to embrace my great destiny. Because when spoken from the heart, words become the key that opens the doors waiting for you. If this message means something to you, don't forget to like and share this video with others who are also waiting for a sign. Sometimes, a whisper can change someone's entire destiny. And if you are a Sagittarius, or carry Sagittarius energy within you, then maybe you are the one meant to bring that light to them. There are moments in life when we can't quite explain why we feel restless. Nothing bad has happened. But we feel like we're standing between two worlds. No longer belonging to the old, but not yet touching the new. If you're feeling that, then don't worry. Because maybe you're not lost. You're being summoned. For Sagittarius, the energy of this month is like a wave of light from the universe. Gentle yet powerful, silently pulling you back to the true orbit of your soul. Much like Jupiter, your ruling planet, when it moves through unfamiliar skies. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't push. But it makes everything you once thought was fine feel too small. Too outdated, too still. You begin to feel the need for something more. Not more material things, but space to breathe. Truth to live. Something wide enough for your soul to fly. And when that feeling comes, don't suppress it. Don't think you're being selfish. Don't be afraid of being misunderstood. Because that is your soul gently reminding you. You were born to grow, not to fit. I've met many people, at all stages of life, who have shared with me the same realization. I remember a man in his 60s once told me, "I have everything, but I don't see myself in the life I'm living." And I understood, that's the moment destiny begins. They no longer felt comfortable in what once made them feel safe. The familiar home suddenly felt too tight. The relationship that once felt close now felt out of sync. The stable job became more tiring than joyful. And none of them were wrong. They were just entering a phase of transformation. And for Sagittarius, this phase is not just a life change. It is a spiritual awakening. For a soul like yours, one that craves discovery, honors truth, and resists pretense, this feeling is not the end. It's the beginning. The point where the universe starts asking you, do you still want to live a life that's merely enough, or are you ready to live a life that truly belongs to you? And if you listen to that question, you will realize one thing. You don't need anyone's permission to move forward. Because sometimes, light only reveals itself when you dare to leave the shadows you thought were home. Your soul, it is your greatest permission. You might be living under a mountain of responsibility, facing choices that are not easy. But don't forget, true freedom doesn't come from leaving everything behind. It comes when you dare to look straight at what's holding you back and ask yourself, do I still truly want this in my life? Because holding on, out of fear, has never been love. And accepting, in silence, has never been peace. I'm not here to tell you to change everything. But I believe, you are already sensing that something inside you is changing. And once that energy begins to stir, nothing can stop you from returning to your true self. Because you were born to be greater, to fly farther, and to inspire more. Not just for yourself, but for those who dare to live authentically like you. And if right now you're thinking, but I'm too old to start again, then let me tell you this, as someone who has walked through many seasons of life. Age is not measured by the number of years. It's measured by how many times you've dared to live truthfully, even if it meant letting go of safety. And if you're ready, then today is always the perfect time to begin. The world out there may not understand why you're changing. They will question. They will doubt. But that is not a reason to stop. They are not the ones who will live with the consequences if you ignore the voice inside. Only you know how deeply that longing inside you needs to be heard. And when you choose yourself, you are not being selfish. You are being honest. Dear Sagittarius, you have sacrificed so much. You stayed when you should have walked away. You stayed silent when you should have spoken. And you smiled, just to hide the loneliness. But now, you don't have to do that anymore. Because the awakening has begun. Because a meaningful life is not about how many people you keep happy. It's about how many days you get to live in truth and peace. Close your eyes for a moment, and receive this sentence as a whisper meant just for you. You're not lost. You're coming home. If that touched your heart, I invite you to make a powerful declaration to yourself. I deserve to live a life as vast as my soul longs for. Because words, when spoken from the soul, become vibrations that reach the layers of energy already waiting to bring you something beautiful. And remember this, because it's the key to your next chapter. When you begin to live in truth, true people, true opportunities, true love, will begin to find you too. And if there's one thing I want you to carry in your heart, it is this. You don't need a good enough reason to walk away from what no longer nourishes you. You only need honesty. And that honesty has been in you all along. It's just that, sometimes, you quieted it down because you didn't want to disrupt anything. Because you didn't want to make anyone sad. Because you thought you should be grateful for the enough you had. But you know what? Some things are not about being ungrateful. They're about moving forward at the right time. I've always believed that each of us has a moment when the soul begins to grow. Not because we push, but because we've lived enough, hurt enough, seen enough to recognize what is real and what is just habit. Sagittarius, you are in that moment. A moment when, okay, is no longer enough. A moment when you begin to hear more clearly the whispers of truth inside you. And that truth has never been small. I don't say this from theory. I say it from experience. From mornings where I woke up with a heavy heart, even though the sky outside was blue. From moments sitting at a crowded table, feeling like I didn't belong in the world around me. From polite smiles hiding the lump in my throat for reasons I couldn't name. And one day, I realized, I couldn't live like that anymore. No one should live a whole life just to get through the day. No one is born to be a spectator in their own life. Sagittarius is not meant to shrink back. You are the one who holds the bow, and your soul was born to aim for horizons others don't even dare to dream. That's why, when you begin to feel your heart nudging you to leave something, no matter how familiar, no matter how much you loved it, don't resist. Because that is not betrayal. That is an invitation. An invitation from destiny, reminding you that it's time to stretch wider, to live truer, and to be fully yourself, no apologies, no permission needed. What you let go of today may be something others dream of, but only you know whether it's still a place your soul belongs. And you don't need anyone's approval to begin living truthfully. I've seen people walk away from powerful positions to live simple, free lives. I've seen people leave seemingly perfect relationships because they no longer felt loved for who they really were. And they all had one thing in common. Their faces looked more at peace. Their eyes brighter. Their hearts lighter. They no longer needed anyone to understand them, because they had already understood themselves. That is the deepest lesson. When you choose yourself, the universe chooses you too. When you live in truth, the right things begin to find you. Ask yourself, how long has it been since you felt excited in the morning? How long has it been since you felt truly seen, truly understood, truly loved the way your soul needs? And if the answer leaves you silent, maybe it's time to speak up, for you. I know change always comes with loss. But sometimes, what we lose is exactly what kept us stuck for years. And what we gain is the chance to live without having to brace ourselves. To live a life not to prove anything, but to fully feel every breath. Sagittarius is the bearer of the fire of truth. And that fire should never be buried just because people say it should be. The truth within you, the urge to live honestly, to live boldly, to live authentically, is not random. It is your guiding map. It is a message from your soul that you are ready. Ready to leave behind the small frames, the old habits, the relationships that have become mere obligations. Ready to step out, not because you know the destination, but because you know you can no longer stay where you've been. And if you're hearing this, maybe you are ready too. So answer this question, not out loud, just in the quiet truth of your heart. If no one were judging me, what would I choose for my life right now? Hold on to that answer. Because it is your soul's map. And if you want, write it in the comments. Send a signal to the universe. I am ready to live a life where I no longer have to shrink. Sometimes, a declaration like that is the first spark of a new beginning. I believe in you. Because you are Sagittarius, and the fire in you does not go out. Even when the world tries again and again to extinguish your hope. Now, let that fire light the way, not only for you, but for those who are quietly watching, looking for courage. Because you are not just living for yourself. You are living to remind others that living truthfully is a sacred act. And living with an open heart is your way of helping to heal the world. And speaking of the heart, in the next part, I want to tell you a story. About a soul who once left. About a person you thought it was over with. But the truth is, nothing has truly ended. Because when destiny calls, souls who have unfinished missions always find their way back. Sometimes, we wake up in a familiar room and suddenly realize we no longer belong there. The same bed, the same window corner, the same daily rhythm that once felt comforting. But something has shifted. Not the place, but us. Your soul is growing. And some things, even if they were once love, have now become a garment too tight. That is not betrayal. It is truth. A quiet truth, but unmistakable. You are no longer your old self. I believe that at some point in our journey, everyone must face this moment. The moment to choose, to keep fitting into what no longer matches, or to step out and allow yourself to expand. For me, that moment was lonely. No fireworks. No applause. Just an ordinary day, sitting with my life, and realizing I had stayed too long in places where I no longer existed. And so I stepped out. Not because I was sure, but because I knew, if I didn't, I would slowly disappear from my own life. And you know what the most beautiful part is? When you leave a place that's too small for you, you don't lose anything. You are simply allowing yourself to be found by the people, the things, the values that are truly meant for you. There may be relationships that crack. There may be jobs you have to walk away from. There may be habits that once felt safe, now feeling like burdens. But it's okay. Each release brings you closer to yourself. Each act of courage tells the universe, I am ready to live a life where I no longer shrink. And if someone is trying to pull you back, not because they're bad people, but because they're used to the old version of you, they don't yet know that you've changed. That your heart has opened. That you no longer live to keep others comfortable, you are learning to live in alignment with your soul. I won't deny, there will be pain. There will be nights that feel empty. But have you noticed that emptiness feels different? It doesn't weaken you. It makes you more awake. Clearer. Lighter. Like wiping the dust off your face, and finally seeing the light from within yourself. You weren't born to stay in the dark, just because others aren't ready to step into the light. The light inside you has never waited for permission to shine. You are not the one responsible for carrying the weight of a stagnant relationship. You are not the one who must keep the old things alive, just because you are good at enduring. No. You are the fire. The walking movement. The one who lights the way, even if it means walking alone. And if today, you find yourself standing at a crossroads, between holding on to what's familiar, or letting go to reclaim who you are, then I only want to say this. You already have the answer. It's in your heart. You just need enough stillness to hear it more clearly than the voice of fear. Let this part be a promise, not to me, but to yourself. I no longer live just to survive. I live to truly be present, with all the light within me. And if those words bring tears to your eyes, don't hold them to yourself. Share them in the comments like a declaration, a rebirth for your soul. So that those who are listening but still hesitant can see your light. And find the courage to keep going. We can't always know what lies ahead. But we always know what's breaking inside us when we try to cling to something that has already faded. So why not trust that signal as a direction from your soul? Because you know, sometimes letting go of a cramped room is exactly what opens the door to something new. And what's waiting behind that door is not just a new space to live in. It's a new love. A new connection. A piece of destiny trying to find its way back to you. And that will be the story of the next chapter. Love, for a Sagittarius, is like a journey drifting through a sea of stars. Vast. Free. And at times, lonely. But you keep going, because your soul cannot stay still. You don't love just to have someone next to you to fill a space. You love to find yourself in someone else's eyes. To be seen without having to perform. To be understood without explanation. To be free and still be held. Someone once told me, I'm not afraid of being alone. I'm afraid of being with someone and still feeling alone. And I understand that deeply. Because on this journey, how many people have we seen, standing next to each other? But their souls are galaxies apart. How many love stories felt like destiny, and yet slipped away as if they never happened? But for you, with a Sagittarius heart, you don't come to love just to fill the silence. You come to love as a sacred journey. A voyage where two souls can fly side by side, not tied down, but expanding the sky for each other. And now, I feel something very special approaching you. A person. A soul. Not someone who arrives to make you feel complete, but someone who walks with you through a mature love. A love that has moved through fear, through wounds, and now rests in quiet understanding. They may be someone who has appeared in your life before. Perhaps someone from your past, an unfinished connection. or simply a soul you once crossed paths with but didn't fully recognize. And if they return this time, it won't be by chance. It will be because destiny still has a chapter left unwritten. Because some soul ties, no matter the distance, no matter the time, never really leave. But you know what? Whether it's someone new or someone familiar, this connection, this time, won't be the same as before. Because you are no longer who you used to be. You've learned how to love yourself more. You know your limits, your needs. You've grown enough to not seek rescue from someone else, but to look for a partner who can walk with you in freedom, in understanding, in light. And so, if love comes this time, it will carry a whole new vibration. A love that listens, that waits, that holds silence when needed, that speaks truth when needed. A love that's not rushed, not flashy, but deep, very deep. Like an underground spring, quietly flowing through your heart each day. I once learned a powerful lesson in love. The right person will not make you shrink to fit them. The right person will make you want to become your biggest self, without fear of being left behind. If someone makes you feel like you're too much, it's not because you are. It's because they're not yet wide enough to hold you. You don't need a love that silences you. You need a love that makes you speak. A love that doesn't confuse your path, but helps you remember why you were born. True love isn't where you hide from life. It's where you stand strong. And from that place, dare to live more boldly. And I believe, if you're still waiting for that kind of love, you're very close. Because when a soul is ready, the universe won't let you wait much longer. Maybe you've been disappointed. Maybe you've given so much, and received so little. Maybe you've told yourself, I don't want to love again. But real love doesn't come when you need it. It comes when you're strong enough not to. When you love without fear of losing. When you give without fear of lacking. When you choose someone, not because they fill a void, but because they help you see more clearly who you are. If you are in a relationship, then this month is a chance for both of you to move beyond the old shell. No more speaking like strangers. No more living like roommates. But truly, looking back, listening, and choosing each other again, from truth. And if you are single, then please, open your heart. Not to search, but to allow. To allow love to enter, when you're no longer hiding behind past wounds. To allow someone to see you, without you having to brace yourself. And without needing to try hard to be loved. If what I just said made your heart pause, then maybe you already understand. True love doesn't arrive like a storm. It comes like morning light, quiet, gentle, but warm to the core. And if today you feel that your soul is ready to love again, to love in light, in freedom, in deep empathy, then leave this affirmation below. I am ready to receive the love my soul truly deserves. Because when you say that, you are opening the first door. And you know what? The most beautiful thing about mature love is not that we find someone. It's that we no longer lose ourselves in anyone. And if someone can love you, and still let you fly, then that is the most beautiful gift destiny could ever offer. So, let your heart soften a little. Lighten a little. Believe one more time, not because you are naive, but because you now understand more than ever what real love truly is. And in the next part, I want to bring you to a different space, where your dreams, the projects you thought were closed, the opportunities you believed were long forgotten, are being awakened again by the light of a new energy. Don't walk away, because perhaps the door you thought was closed is about to open wider, brighter, and more aligned with you than ever before. Have you ever felt like the dreams you once held have gone too far? As if you've walked too long in reality, to the point where you forgot why you started in the first place? Maybe you once poured your heart into a project, an idea, a path. But life responsibilities, and fear made you fold it away, store it in a drawer, and stop touching it altogether. But dear Sagittarius, if those thoughts have been returning to your mind in recent days, it is not a coincidence. It is a message from the universe. It's time to reclaim what belongs to you. This month, a door is opening for you, not with noise, but with grace. It might be an invitation, a gentle suggestion, an opportunity to return to something you thought was lost. And this time, you don't come to it as a dreamer, but as someone who has lived, who has matured, who is deep enough now to rebuild their dream on a stronger foundation. I once witnessed a woman at 56 start over from zero with a small coffee shop, simply because it was her dream since youth. People said she was taking a risk. But a few years later, that little shop became a gathering place for kindred souls. Not just a cafe, but a space for healing. And I realized, dreams don't have expiration dates. As long as you have a heart to love them, they are still alive. Sagittarius is the symbol of longing, of the adventurous spirit, of vision that reaches beyond boundaries. You were never meant to walk the beaten path. And because of that, no one can live your true life for you. No one can fully see what you see in your mind, when you gently close your eyes. That is why, even if no one supports you, you must keep going. Because there are dreams that only your soul can clearly see the light of. And if someone once made you doubt yourself, let that belong to the past. You don't need to be validated. You only need to live. Because if what you're doing comes from honesty, from the heart, then the universe will always support you, in ways you never imagined. You may be receiving a new proposal, a suggestion to collaborate, or simply a sudden spark of inspiration, urging you to start something again. Don't ignore it. Because inspiration never comes without a reason. It is a signal. A whisper reminding you, your energy is shifting. And something new, something more worthy, is being aligned for you. Finances are not excluded from this flow. When you do what you love with seriousness, with heart, with discipline, money will come as a natural outcome. Not in dizzying numbers, but with enough fullness, enough to keep you breathing freely, and enough to let you keep nurturing your passion. If there's one lesson I've learned after years of observing life's current, it is this. Money does not come to those who chase it. Money comes to those who pursue value. And when you live with value, finances become a reward, not the goal. So, don't be afraid if you don't have everything right now. Don't be discouraged if the road ahead still looks blurry. Just keep your heart bright and your feet steady. You don't need to know every step. You just need to be honest with the next one. And if today, you're sitting among pieces you thought were broken, I want you to hear this slowly. You haven't failed. You've only just begun again, from a truer place. A deeper place. A place that's more right for you. Let this part be a quiet, yet powerful declaration. I am ready to rebuild my life. This time, from the dream that truly lives in my heart. And if you feel that, leave a comment. Not just to affirm it to yourself, but to let the universe hear that you are ready. And you will be surprised at how quickly things begin to shift. You did not come to this earth to merely exist in just enough. You came here to create something meaningful. Even if small. But true. Even if slow. But steady. And in the next part, we will speak of something quiet but essential, something that, without it, every dream, every love, every plan, becomes hollow. That is, the return to yourself. The listening to your inner voice. The restoration from within, so that you not only go far, but go deep and strong. How long has it been since you were truly alone with yourself? Not alone to run away, but to pause. To breathe. To look deep within, where all the noise fades, and the true voice of your soul begins to speak. On the journey of life, there are stretches of the road that don't ask you to do anything more. Only that, you stop. Close your eyes. And ask yourself honestly, what am I living for? Not an answer spoken aloud, but an answer from the heart, sometimes. A silence that is perfectly clear. Sagittarius is the eternal traveler of the spirit. And sometimes, the greatest journey isn't far away. It is the return. Return to your own heart. Return to the inner child who had once been forgotten. Return to the part of your soul that has always whispered, I miss you. That return doesn't come with noise, but it soothes everything. It heals. It helps you see the people you once resented with compassion. To see the failures you once blamed with gratitude. To see yourself, not with judgment, but with a deeply human gentleness. I don't know what you've been through, but I believe this. If you're still here, if you've made it to this part, then surely you are a soul that is awakening. A soul that chose love instead of bitterness. Chose to live honestly instead of pretending. Chose to come home instead of running away. You've already gone far. And no one sees that more clearly than you. The wounds you mended on your own. The long nights no one else witnessed. The moments you collapsed and rose again, quiet but unshaken. And now, it's time for you to stop trying so hard. Just breathe. Just believe. Just open your heart to receive, not just give. Rebirth doesn't mean starting over with grand gestures. It means choosing to live more gently, more slowly, more deeply. When you drink a glass of water and feel thankful. When you look at someone and no longer feel resentment. When you pass by a mirror and whisper, I am not perfect, but I am real. That kind of rebirth begins in the smallest things. A morning without scrolling on your phone, just sitting with the sunlight. An apology whispered to yourself. A quiet evening with the lights off, just to hear your breath. I'm not here to promise you a life without pain. But I can tell you this. When you live from the depth of your soul, then even loss becomes a season of shedding. And if you need one last message from the universe, then this is what I want to send to you. You don't need to achieve anything to be worthy. You are worthy, simply because you exist. And sometimes, just one day where you no longer doubt your value, is enough to change your whole destiny. Believe that. Let it soak into every cell of your being. Because when you live with inner fullness, everything around you begins to move in the most miraculous way. If your heart just trembled a little as you heard this, leave this one honest sentence in the comments below. I have come home to myself. Not for praise, but so the universe knows you are ready to live from your deepest place. And if this video has walked a little way with you on that journey, please leave a like. Share it with someone you care about. Who knows, they might be the one waiting for these very words to rise again. We'll meet again in deeper, brighter, and more truthful chapters. Because Sagittarius doesn't stop at the end. You are the zodiac of horizons. And a horizon never truly ends.